Suplifters. Today I want to talk about a topic which is extremely important, extremely dear to my heart, and it is something that a lot of people get wrong, which is sleep. So, what is sleep? Sleep is something that we all do, we all should do actually much more than what people are doing. So how much, we already know what sleep is. I don't really need to tell you what it is, but I'm gonna tell you why it's important and how much you should do it for. So, how much you should sleep for? The main idea, is to be able to sleep from early in the evening, so basically getting a sleep from like 8 to 11, I feel like that is optimal, and basically just waking up whenever your body wakes up. Whenever you wake up, and it's not because you got your bladder full and you gotta pee, but you actually wake up and you feel like that you're waking up, okay? You get up and you're like, okay, everything is fine, I'm gonna wake up. That is theoretically the main amount of hours that we should sleep. And that differs from everyone, it differs from, and it also changes based on what we did on the day. I'm gonna give you an example. For instance, 2 days ago I had an extremely busy day, so I slept 10 hours. Yeah, I slept 10 hours, and that might seem a lot, but I feel like that the day was so full that my body needed to recover that much time. Some other days, however, I can just sleep like 8 hours and feel fine. Some people, during my high school, I pretty much slept 6 hours and that was fine. And why was that? And that is also kind of my personal theory, as well as being quote-unquote proven, if you will, by logic. What is the difference between now that I'm sleeping 10 hours and when I was in high school where I slept 6? Well, number one, I'm gonna talk about high school first. I didn't do any sports, I didn't do any physical exercise, I played a lot of video games, and I studied at night. Studied because right now that I know what studying and putting effort in studying actually is, I would laugh at myself during high school. In high school I was just able to cruise just reading the books. And I'm not saying this to say, oh look at me, I'm so smart, because I could have learned so much more. Those are all just wasted opportunities. And that is why I'm getting so quote-unquote focused on studying and getting better and improving. So, although that must not be the first focus on your life, that should not actually, be detrimental to all of the other aspects, okay? Whether it's family, whether it's friends, social life, and so on. So, basically in high school I didn't do shit, I didn't really study, so my brain wasn't really having any kind of effort to do, and I didn't really do any physical exercise. So what happened now? Now I have to basically take trains, so I need to travel. I am pretty much every single moment when I'm not talking, when I'm not eating, when I'm not training, I am at the very least trying to do notes. I'm at the very least trying to translate notes from like my paper to my online, if you will, files. And also, I am also physical training, and as you know, I'm trying to do the best as I can and try to train as much as I can. Have the sessions as full as I can. Basically, trying to do as much as I can regarding training, at the very least as much as when I had no lessons and no exams to do. Okay, so if you understand the difference, is that in high school I didn't really put my body through anything. Okay, while right now I'm asking a lot to my body. I'm asking it both mentally a lot of stuff as well as physically, because if you saw me training, you know that I don't really train I don't train easy like a pussy. You see me failing a lot of stuff, even stuff on like bench press. I try to go near to failure as much as I can. But I like training like this. I'm not telling you that you should do it, but I can safely say that I do train hard. And also with a lot of volume, which is also extremely important. So of course my body needs more time to recover, but why is it important? Well, I'm gonna start from the brain, and I'm gonna just do one thing before talking about the brain. Okay, so the brain, what's the brain? The brain is that amazing thing that sends electric signals that allow you to sleep. But why it's important for the brain to rest? Well, let's think about one thing first, which is neurons. What are neurons? Neurons are these thingies. I'm gonna keep it extremely easy. Number one, because I am also not a neuroscientist. I studied the brain a very bit, but it was some time ago, and I should need to basically take another read at my notes. But the main idea is that there are neurons in your brain which are quote unquote your brain power. Okay, these neurons have a fine number. Okay, while you are growing up, these neurons are actually generating. Okay, because when you're small, your brain is smaller than what it is now. Okay, once the brain stops growing, these neurons are said and done. They are there, they aren't gonna grow. And that is extremely important, because if you kill them through alcohol, through I don't really know if psychedelics do that. I know alcohol does, but in general, if you kill them, they are not gonna be replaced. Okay, so what is the brain doing when you're resting? Well, what happens is that these neurons, as I said, are a fine number. What is not a fine number, which is what it's called neuroplasticity, is the ability of creating new neural, probably, I don't really know how they're called in English, maybe neural networks, I believe. I'm gonna Google it online and put it, as you always know, like up there, I think, what the correct term is. But basically, they are creating new connections between each other. The more they are connected, the better they are connected, the more thick these connections are. Just like muscle, the thicker the muscles are, the more your brain is wired nicely, it works better, and it in general performs better. So it's extremely important, and there is no like maximal number of connections. So you can quote unquote get smarter, you can get better at thinking, you can better doing everything. What you cannot do is improving your raw number, okay? So if one person is born with 120 neurons and one person is born with 100, given the same amount of conditions, the one with 120 neurons is gonna be better because he has more brain power. You can think of it almost like an engine of a car, okay? One can be driven by a perfect human being, but he's driving like, I don't know, I mean, I don't really know a lot about cars. I don't really know what I'm talking about cars. Basically, one is drawing a Ferrari and the other one is drawing, sorry, not drawing. One is driving a Ferrari, the other guy is driving maybe, I don't know, a Citroen, I have no idea. A Mazda, maybe Mazda actually, they are a little bit more high-end. Oh man, Renault, I don't know what I'm talking about, only French car, but who cares? So understand that if one is a Ferrari and the other one is a shit-ass car, it doesn't matter how good this driver is, because this car can only go to 60 miles per hour. This can go to 140, okay? But we can make the best out of what we have. So when you sleep, you're creating these new neural connections between your neurons, okay? And the more connections you have, the more you're able to remember, the more you're able to understand, and the better connections you have, the more mastery of the, in general, human knowledge you have, okay? Because you can start understanding that maybe, I don't know, the Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes actually has some really interesting things that date back to the Greeks. And from the Greeks you can jump to lifting, since they loved a lot physical training, or even can jump before like to pancratio and wrestling. And the more stuff you know, the more you are able to jump from different arguments, and the better wired your brain is, the more sense the connections will make, the easier it will be for you. So understand that this is a very important concept. It's something that you need to understand for you, and it is why we want to sleep. So when you sleep, there are different REM cycles, okay? Cycles, you get it. What happens is that if you wake up with an alarm, you might actually interrupt one of these cycles. And what happens is that you feel like, oh man, why am I so tired? I already slept for 8 hours. Yeah, but you actually didn't complete your sleep, okay? It's as if you were transferring data from a USB key to your computer, and when you are almost done, you completely remove it, okay? Some stuff is gonna be saved, most likely. However, some stuff isn't, and that stuff is being corrupted and lost. So we don't want to do it. We don't really want to pull the plug before our body says we're done. And that is why it's important to be able to kind of wake up, let's say, by your body and not by your alarm. And you might be saying, yeah, but I need to wake up pretty early. Yeah, that is exactly why you should go to sleep earlier, so you can wake up at a reasonable time in order to wake up. I don't know, get a shower if you do, eat your breakfast, which you must be doing, I mean, you definitely should. You do all of your stuff and you can get out, but you're not gonna be woke up by the alarm. And then, of course, what we all know is repairing our muscle. During the sleep, our body is repairing, it's recovering, it's fixing the muscles that have been broken down by our training, and they are recovering. And that is the easiest part. There are a lot of more stuff that is happening, both with your internal organs and all of the other stuff. So I'm gonna give you more tips to sleep better. Blue lights. Fuck blue lights. Use all of the filters as you can. I have mine on the PC set pretty high, and just to give you an idea, when I open a Word document, which should be white, I see it yellow. That is how strong the filter that I'm putting on is. Why do we need to block blue lights? Well, because in our eyes, when they perceive blue lights, I don't know if you noticed, but the sky is actually blue, our body thinks, oh, it's day, I'm seeing the sky, hence it's day. So we must be wired, we must think that it is day, we must be woken up, we must be alert, okay? And what this does, is that it, number one, says to the rest of our body that it's day, that it should be start working and so on. But later on at night, it inhibits the ability of the brain to secrete from, I think it's from the pineal gland, but don't quote me on this, the ability to secrete melatonin. I finally got it. I had to think for like 20 seconds, but I managed to get it. I'm gonna double check it because there are a lot of stuff that I know that it's similar, like melatonin, which is like a peptide that you put into your body to get more tan. There is, as I said, melatonin, and there is a melanin, which is the thing that your body produces in order to get darker and protect itself. But melatonin should be the correct one out of the three that I was kind of trying to remember myself about. So it inhibits the production of melatonin, which is something that will help you go to sleep. I don't know if you ever watched, basically check the sleeping product out, there is going to be melatonin at short release and long release in order to sleep better. But you don't need it because your body already produces it. So instead of supplementing it, teach your body to be in the perfect environment to produce it. Again, just like testosterone, you don't really want to inject it, you need to get your body to produce it. Another thing, so caffeine. Again, caffeine is a stimulant, and it's not, oh my god, caffeine does not make you energized, okay? Caffeine blocks your brain's ability to feel fatigued, okay? And all of the things that you're doing while on caffeine are actually taking a toll on you, okay? So one day, I'm not saying that it's gonna take years out of your life, actually far from it, but understand that this systemic fatigue is not something that your body should be in a constant state of, okay? Please sleep, that is the main idea. Sleep, if possible. Don't drink coffee. I know that it is hard. I also do drink coffee, but I use it as a functional thing because caffeine does actually improve performance, but I do it when I work out and when it's like early in the day. I will never take a coffee after like 2 p.m. okay? Never. Why? Because caffeine stays in the body for like 10 to 12 hours. I like to think of 10 personally. So understand that if I take them at like 2 p.m., the caffeine is already gonna be staying in my body up until midnight. So even there, I'm already, quote unquote, reducing my ability to go to sleep. However, since I do all of the other stuff correctly, my body is still able to get asleep. But ideally, you wouldn't really be willing to use it actually, you know, like later in the day. So caffeine is a no-no, especially in the evening. If you like the taste of coffee, drink that decaffeinated one. I mean, what's the problem? And if after I said that you actually got mad, you're probably addicted. But that is another topic. Who cares? Just, I mean, drink coffee, but don't do it later on in the day. I mean, just drink it in the morning if you really need it. But trust me that when you start doing this stuff, you won't need it in the morning, okay? Because you're already gonna be feeling it, waking up actually energized. Another thing. Your room should be cold and under your sheets it should be warm. What does this mean? It means that if you are basically sleeping in an environment which is extremely hot, it's gonna be hard for our body to actually get asleep, okay? I don't really know the reason why, but our body seems to prefer having a cold environment So our face basically, which is basically, I sleep like this, okay? I basically sleep like a corpse, okay? And my sheets are all over there. So the only thing that it is sticking out of my sheets is my neck and my face, okay? That is the only thing that is perceiving this cold. But in general, your room should be cold, okay? Because your body sleeps better. I cannot tell you the reason. This is just how it is. If you're actually cold under the sheets, that is a problem, because it's either that your body is not able to actually warm up, which is, I mean, something that we should also try to fix. Hopefully, I've never had that problem. But I mean, if you smoke, I mean, the vasoconstriction ability of smoking can be a reason, because, the veins are getting smaller, so there is less blood flow. That might be a reason. I have no idea. Again, I've never had that problem, so I don't know anything about that. But go Google it, try to fix it. Again, try to fix it from within than from without, okay? If I am cold, I don't raise the temperature, okay? I try to understand why my body is cold and it doesn't get any warmer. For instance, as you can see, I am in shorts and with a t-shirt. When I went down here in the gym, I mean, it's October, it's starting to get actually pretty chilly. And it was, but right now I feel fine. I mean, I'm not saying that I will actually be able to go out and just stay there and be warm, but at least right now I'm feeling okay. Although it's still pretty chilly, it's not like there are 20, 25 degrees, it's like more like 10 to 15, more towards 15 actually. So, room must be cold, no coffee, no stims in general, don't take, alcohol. Even alcohol is actually a stimulatory ability, so even alcohol is something that you should avoid before going to sleep. I really like to think about all of this stuff that was basically perpetuated. Like in a lot of movies, you kind of see this old man that comes home and says, yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep, I'm just gonna take some whiskey, and actually it's not helping him go to sleep. It's just that, he's addicted, he does it every time, so it's become an addiction and he can't sleep if he doesn't get it, but it's not helping him. Something else that we can do. Again, ideally, you shouldn't even be staring at a screen if you can. Right now, in this moment of my life, I can't, because I need to, quote unquote, work. I need to keep doing stuff, so I cannot really allow myself to do that. So if you're like me, use the blue screen filter. What else can you do? I mean, physical exercise will help you go to sleep. So again, another big up for lifting. Something else is basically actually being active. And I'm not just talking, as I said, about the body. I'm also talking about the mind. Try to learn something, study by your own. Basically do something that actually engages your mind in a hard manner, okay? Playing video games, I understand that it is a way of kinda actually basically, I mean, I don't really like saying this because if you play chess for the first time, you're gonna feel fatigued by your brain, okay? You are gonna be doing that. However, after the 1000th match, you can just play chess without thinking, okay? Because you're going autopilot. It's just like when you basically drive and you're not thinking, it's again the autopilot. Because we are so used to doing that our body is able to do it almost without thinking. So do something that actually requires you to be present in the moment, okay? You need to be there and you must be thinking about doing that task. So reason, learn, whatever it is, something that is gonna make your brain say, damn, we have a lot of stuff to actually process, because as I said, your brain sleeps, gets these new connections, and actually your brain understands that, whoa, we learned so much stuff, time to get, more place for newer stuff. And just like I said in another video, I thought about it and I said, damn, every time that I skipped a workout, I felt badly afterwards, because I said I lost the only opportunity of training on a sad day. No, not a sad day in the sense that it was a sad, I'm so sad. In that day, yeah, let's say it like that, it's less ambiguous. I lost my opportunity to train, so I'm sad about it. In the same way, if I don't train, if I don't learn anything on a day, I lost an opportunity of my brain to create more connections. Okay, we need to get smarter every single day. Another topic that I would like to touch upon but I can't because I don't really have knowledge, is nootropics and how they actually are for your brain, if they are good to sleep and all of that stuff. But either way, I feel like you should be able to just go to sleep by yourself. Also, understand that to me personally, like not driving, but in general traveling, it really tires me out a lot. I mean, I need to basically take a train of like 25 minutes, like once to go and once to come home, and that really tires me a lot. There are some days where basically I have lessons early in the morning and then later in the day, where I basically need to go and come and go and come. So that's kind of disgusting because it's trash. I hate it. I waste so much time. But that tires me out, and it is a good excuse to go to sleep earlier because that tires me out. Everybody's different, but that is something that I noticed on myself. I mean, to me, just traveling and doing stuff, even social stuff, it really tires me out. One last thing, you might be saying, yeah, but I like to stay asleep like late. I have a friend of mine who actually had a terrible sleeping schedule in the sense that he pretty much woke up at like 1 p.m. So we went to sleep like really late in the night at like 2 to 3, I believe, like constantly. Luckily, I've been able to actually get through his head that he should be going to sleep earlier. And right now, I've actually saw him go to sleep at like midnight, 1 a.m. And this is number one, it shows that everybody can do it because he's being able to actually stick to it. I actually haven't, I mean, it's a dear friend of mine, so I usually talk to him, but I haven't really talked about this topic with him recently, but I'm pretty sure that he's still doing it. So number one, this shows that you can actually change your sleeping schedule, but this also shows that some people do prefer going to sleep later at night, and that is completely subjective. The whole thing of, oh, I'm a night owl, oh, I'm an early morning person, that is too polarizing, okay? There might be one person who is a night owl and there might be one person who is an early bird. Everybody else falls in between of this continuum. I tend to be more of a morning person, I believe. Some other people prefer the night. However, a lot of people think that they prefer the night because what happens at night? Well, you go out, you go to parties, you go out with your friends at the bar, you stay asleep late because you don't have to work the next day. So we are wired to believe that we prefer the night, when, however, it's just the habits of society that are imprinting us with thinking that we are actually night owls, when in reality we aren't. What I'm saying is, also this friend of mine, it's not like that he was just staying he wasn't like staying awake for no reason. I mean, he was working, he works hard, he's an extremely hard worker, and I really, really admire him for that. But if you're just staying asleep and you're, I don't know, reading manga, can't you do that in the morning? I mean, what's the point, really? If you're doing something that you can do in the morning, why aren't you doing it in the morning? Or at least more in the morning, okay? So maybe don't stay asleep, like awake until 1 a.m. reading manga. Do it until like 11 p.m. then go to sleep. Because if you think about it, as long as the time that you're sleeping is the same, whether you do it in the morning or in the night, it's the same. The difference is the quality of your sleep, because there is also sleep quality. And that is why I said that in general people tend to be have better results if they go to sleep earlier, results with their sleep, I mean. So if you go to sleep earlier, trust me that most likely, so like 60% maybe, you're gonna feel way better later on. In my group of the best friends, there is me and 3 other guys, and one of these guys is the guy that I just said that basically actually stood, because right now he's not doing it. Basically stood awake for until early morning, if you will, or late at night, whatever you want to call it. Another one who was kind of in the middle, which basically still stood awake a lot, until 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. And then there is me and this other fella, which basically go to sleep quite early. I mean, for a time frame, I went to sleep at midnight, and he was going even before. Right now, it's me that I'm going earlier. Not like we're competing or anything, but this shows that there is just some kind of fluidity in between where you can go to sleep and still have good results, you know. But in general, I would really suggest you to go earlier, because more exposure to sunlight and light in general means more vitamin D consumption and absorption, which actually isn't a vitamin, but it is an hormone, and it is an extremely important one. I'm gonna touch on just one last thing, and I swear that I'm gonna end this video, which is the people who are saying that they are meteoropathic or meteor. Basically, they are saying that based on the weather they change emotions. That is bullshit. It just means that they are not getting enough vitamin D. That is why they feel sluggish. Okay, I think that I mentioned it in a train everyday video, and that I think about it. If you hear that, just tell them go and spend the time under the sunlight. Even if, you know, I mean, if it's raining, maybe you don't want to do it, but you know, if the sun is covered, so there is that weird gray light, still stay there, you're still absorbing it, but you're gonna need more time. This is it for today's video. See you guys in the next one.